What's up guys, welcome back to another MasterDuel video. It is your boy Vox, and today I decided to make the tutorial video that was highly requested by you guys when I first uploaded my Relinquished deck that you see right now. I want to apologize for taking this long to actually make this video. I had some stuff that I had to take care of, and basically for the people that requested this video is for you guys. So let's go straight into the combos. With the first hand, as you can see, we have some plays that we can make, so let's see how far we can go. First, we're gonna special summon just the Confit. Then we're gonna normal summon our Knights and Sorcerer. We're going to go into our Crystal Haki Fibrax, straight up. Crystal Haki Fibrax will special summon the, in this case, yeah, I think Fatigue Hydride is the better option. Then we're gonna go into our Verte Anaconda. Yes, Verte Anaconda is the play. And here we're going to put this on so you can see why. We're gonna use the effect of Verte Anaconda to throw Fusion Destiny. Then we're going to chain the Relinquished Fusion, going back into auto. And now, when we're playing first, with the hand that you saw, we're going to use one Relinquish from my hand, and then basically, we're going to banish, not Crystal, we're going to banish, doesn't matter I guess, yeah, let's banish Fatigue Hydride, in case they have a Monster Reborn, to deny them the extra tuner, in case they could go into their own Crystal Haki Fibrax, maybe they break or whatever. Then we're going to put our Millennium-Eyes restrict in defensive position. In defense position always, because they might have a Lightning Storm or whatever. And same case for our DPE. We're gonna throw the materials into the graveyard. And we're ending our board with a DPE, Verte Anaconda, and also Millennium-Eyes restrict. Pretty decent for the hand that we had actually, because we drew the Knights and Sorcerer. But even then, as you can see, you can still end with a pretty decent board with 2 interruptions by going first. And as I've said, the deck profile, if you saw that first before you watching this combo tutorial, you basically know that this deck loves to go second. Ideally you want to go second, but you still have plays that you can make that you can still have interruptions to your board if you go first. So let's go and show the second combo. The second hand that we have here, as you can see, is honestly pretty bad, because if our opponent has any interruption, we're basically screwed. So let's start with a normal summon of Tour Guide. Tour Guide will grab us. So this is the decision that you have to make, depending on the hand that you have every single time. If you go into Sangan, and then you will use Tour Guide and Sangan to go into Predator with Anaconda, you will obviously end on a DPE as well. But then with Sangan, you could search, for example, a Relinquished or whatever, depending on what you have in your hand. In this case, as you see, we have Relinquished Fusion in our hand. That means that we can end on the same board that we finished before in the first combo tutorial that I showed. And you will see that even with this hand, which is basically one starter, we have a pretty good board to end on. So let's go with the Sangan route. We're going to special summon Sangan. We're gonna go link summon into our Verte Anaconda. Verte Anaconda is summoned out. We're going to use Sangan's effect. We're going to actually get our Relinquished in this case. If we had Relinquished in our hand, I would probably grab the Millennium-Eyes Illusionist, the in archetype hand trap. But in this case, we actually want to get the Relinquished in order for us to use the Relinquished Fusion, banish the Relinquished and one effect monster of our graveyard to get our boss monster of the deck, which is Millennium-Eyes Illusionist, right? Let's keep that in mind. So we're going to add the Relinquished into our hand with the effect of Sangan. Then we're going to instantly use our Relinquished Fusion. But doing that, you also protect yourself in case they have any hand drop, maybe even Nibiru. So the fact that you have your Millennium-Eyes restrict into the field sooner, you have basically that one extra protection. And then we're going to finish with Predator and Verte Anaconda. Use its effect, send the Fusion Destiny. We're going to send the materials. And then we're going to put DP on defense position again in case they drew the Lightning Storm. You know how it goes. you see that we basically, with a different hand, but with one starter and our best normal summon, which is our tour guide from the underworld, you can see the end board that we can consistently get when we're going first. So let's see a game, how it goes when we're going second now. As you can see, we have a pretty decent hand. There could be situations in the ladder where your opponent just bricks and just sets and passes. But in this case, how far we can get with what we got in our hand. First, we start with pre-prep, always with this, if you have your Allure of Darkness, in case they have Ash. We're going to get the Black Illusion Ritual and we're going to bring one Relinquished into our hand. Then we're going to use Allure of Darkness. We actually drew the tour guide. That is absolutely insane. We're going to banish the... let's think about this. I think the play here is... yeah, banishing the one Relinquished. We're going to first go a normal summon our tour guide. In this case, as you can see, our hand is 1 Maxi, 1 Golden Eyes Idol. We have 1 interruption with Relinquished. What we can get with this? We could go into our Crystal Haki... we could basically end on a Crystal Haki Fibrax. And then we're going to do the auto-gain combo just to show you guys how it works. We're going to get the Handrite out. Then we're going to go into our Crystal Haki Fibrax. We're going to use Crystal Haki Fibrax effect to special summon and turn off the deck. We're going to get Knights and Sorcerer. We want the Spellcaster, not the Warrior. We want the Spellcaster because we're going to go into our Selene. That requires a Spellcaster in order to get into Selene. So obviously and always, when you use your Crystal Haki Fibrax, if you want to go into your access code line, you will go into your Knights and Sorcerer. You want to special summon Knights and Sorcerer, even if you drew her, because Crystal Haki Fibrax special summons from hand or deck. We're going to get the Knights and Sorcerer, special summon to the field. We're going to go into our Selene. Selene is special summoned into the field. We don't care about the counters. You could use her effects if you had Relinquished into the graveyard that you actually special summoned properly. And then basically what we will do from here is use Black Illusion Ritual to get Relinquished out. We're going to tribute the Millennium-Eyes Illusionist. We get the Relinquished into the field now. Millennium-Eyes Illusionist we get back into our hand. And now, what we do here is, because as you saw, we didn't have enough spell counters in order for us to special summon the Knights and Sorcerers back into the field, which can occur. That's why I showed this specifically. You could add on this if you choose to do that because you have the extra interruption, but for the sake of this video, we will go into the access code. Basically, I used my Relinquished in order for me to get into my access code, but as you saw, if I had any other extender like Jester Confit or the other special summon cards that you have into the deck like Crusadia Arborea, you can basically get into your access code faster. Basically, this is one of the ways that you can get into your access code. Let's go and show another combo. Again, as you can see, we have a really solid hand. Our opponent is just going to normal summon one monster, obviously because it is the intermediate bot. But again, just to show you guys how far you can get with the cards that you have into your hand. For this, because you have Tour Guide and you have Allure of Darkness, if the opponent has Ash, you would rather get ashed on your Allure of Darkness instead of your Tour Guide, because as you saw into the previous combos that I showed you guys in this video, Tour Guide is basically one card starter that can end you on a really solid board. So we're going to start with Allure of Darkness first. Let's see what we draw. We drew pretty bad, honestly, but at this point we'll just banish Illusionist Faceless Magician. Unfortunately, we have an option. You would always want to keep your Millennium-Eyes Illusionist in case you get into a grind game, and then the interruption that it adds into the deck is incredible. It is your in-archetype hand trap, as I've said multiple times, so you want to have him basically there for you to resolve. We're going to activate True Guide from the Underworld. We're going to special summon Sangan, and we're gonna go into our Verge Anaconda again. As you can see, Verge Anaconda is basically NDPE, adds so much power into this deck, and you will also realize why. we're not going to use Super Poly yet. We're basically going to grab, where is it? We're going to grab one Relinquished. In this case, you can do multiple things. You could either use your Black Illusion Ritual, use Millennium-Eyes Illusionist always for the tribute to special summon the Relinquished, get back your Illusionist, and then use its effect to equip that monster. But in this situation, because we have Super Poly, you want to get value out of that. So what we're going to do is going to set on, and you will see why. We're going to activate Plant Verts Anaconda's effect. We're going to send Fusion Destiny, and then we're going to chain Super Poly. By doing that, we're basically ensuring that we're going to get our chain resolved, because they cannot respond whenever we activate Super Poly, because it's a quick play spell as well. An incredible spell, incredibly powerful card that adds so much power into this deck. And then we have the choice, what do we discard? Ideally, you would never discard Maxi, but for this purpose of this video, I guess, let's see. Might as well just discard the other Super Poly, just for the sake of showing this. Then our chain is going to resolve. And then, as you can see, depending on what your opponent has, you have the two options of the Super Poly targets, whether that is Mad Dragon of the Swamp, whether that is Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. If our opponent had an effect monster, what we could do is special summon the Relinquished, and then Super Poly to go into R1 of Millennium-Eyes Restrict, because as you can see, it requires only one Relinquished and one effect monster, any effect monster. So it is a pretty easy target for Super Poly for you to get. But in this situation, we'll just go into our Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. There we're gonna go. He's going into our field. Verts Anaconda will resolve. We're gonna send the materials, and then what you can also do, ideally, as I've said previously, you would want to keep your Super Poly, but for the sake of this video, I just discarded a card. Ideally, from the hand that you saw, I would probably discard the Maxi, but as you can see, basically attack him, do the damage, and then for DP as well, another tip, in case you don't know, if you want to play around Effect Veilers, you would activate your DP on battle phase, because Effect Veiler can activate only on main phase, so that is a tip in case you didn't know how to play around Effect Veiler specifically. And as you can see, because we went into the Fusion Destiny line, and we went basically into that line, we cannot go into a Relinquished and anything like that, but you have Maxi, you have follow-up. You can see that basically Tour Guide can get you into so many combos to your deck, depending on what have you have every single time. Let's go and show another combo. As you guys can see, we have a playable hand, not the best, but we can do stuff. Let's go and show you why we play 1000 Eyes Restrict. We're going to Instant Fusion, get into our 1000 Eyes Restrict, use his effect to equip one of our opponent's monster, get into our field, then we can do the only thing, which is normal summon Goldeneye, use its effect, don't forget, always use its effect, see what your opponent has, alright? And then we go. As you can see, you also have obviously the option of going into the Relinquished and Assembled Nightingale, but obviously Plant Verts Anaconda is always the play, because DP is insane. We're gonna get our Plant Verts Anaconda out, use its effect, get Fusion Destiny into the graveyard. As you saw, if we drew our Fusion Destiny, we would use our Relinquished Fusion because we had Relinquished in their hand, but in this case we did not. Use the materials, and we get DPE out. As you can see again, with different cards, you can still end on this specific board, which is one Verts Anaconda, one DP with one interruption. You have one Mana Maxi in your hand. Not the best, obviously, but still far from the worst. Let's go and show another combo. This combo, as you can see, we drew again our Tour Guide. As long as you get your Tour Guide into the hand, you can basically get into your end board. This situation, we have an insane hand because we drew Fusion Destiny. So we're going to pre-prep first. In case they have Ash, we would rather them Ash or pre-prep instead of Fusion Destiny. Obviously, we're going to grab the Black Illusion Ritual and the Relinquished. Then we're going to normal summon our Tour Guide of the Underworld. Unfortunately, we drew our King of our Hadrite, but as you can see, we can still use him and basically go into the Access Code Ogre line. So actually, let's go and show you guys this. Let's go into that. I'm gonna go into our Crystal Hockey Fibrax. Crystron special summons the Knights and Sorcerer. In this case, we have 2-3 spells. What I'm going to do is, because obviously we're playing with an intermediate bot and they have no spells into the graveyard, ideally if you played with an opponent, they would probably have 1 or 2 spells, so your Celine would have the 3 counters to special summon the Knights and Sorcerer back for you to go into your access code. But for the sake of this video, in order for you to basically see how the deck works, I will go into the Black Illusion Ritual first to get the extra spells to the graveyard. We're gonna tribute our Illusionist Specialist Magician, get the Relinquished into the field. We're gonna use Relinquished to get that monster into our field. And then, as you can see, we have 2 spells, right? Unfortunately, if we had to use our Fusion Destiny, that means we are locked into only using Dark Hero monsters. So you lock yourself. So always when you draw your Fusion Destiny and you want to go into your TPE, always, and when I say always, use it at the end of your plays. Unfortunately, again, because we do not have the 3rd spell for the extra counter, we cannot really do much. You could go into, that's why, and I also want to mention this, this is one of the reasons why I have Nightmare Unicorn added to the extra deck, because, for example, right now, if we go into our Celine, we won't have enough spell counters to special summon. So, for the sake of this video, I will just go into the Nightmare Unicorn to show that this is basically possible. We're gonna go into Nightmare Unicorn. We're not going to activate its effect. Obviously, you could, if it's needed, and then access code. Activates its effect. She goes to 5k, and we end with a Fusion Destiny. We get the DP out. And basically, with this board, you are like 200 off, right? As you can see. So that is pretty decent, right? Only just by using 1 card. This is basically one of the end boards that you could get. Again, ideally, if your opponent is not an intermediate board, for the sake of this for this combo tutorial, if he was a player, he would have spell trap spells into his graveyard, in which it would add counters for Celine in order for us to use her effect, special summon the spellcaster that is Knights and Sorcerer, or Effect Veiler. Again, if you have Effect Veiler and you want to add him into the deck, you would special summon that spellcaster and then use Celine and that spellcaster that you special summoned, whether that is Knights or Sorcerer again, or Effect Veiler, that is your choice, and then you would go into your access code and then finishing with DPE. That is one of the best end boards that you could get, ideally and always, as you can see, because we have the Relinquished in our hand. If we drew our Relinquished Fusion, you would also end, you would be able to end on an extra Millennium-Eyes restrict as well for an extra interruption. But as you can see, this is one of the ways and one of the best end boards that you can get. Let's go and show you guys final combo tutorial for this video. And for this final combo, as you can see, again, we drew 2 Allure of Darkness, which can happen. We also drew our Relinquished Fusion. Let's see what we can get. We drew our Borea and our Kaiju. In this case, we're gonna just banish our Kaiju. We're gonna Allure again. And we drew a Tour Guide. This is what we wanted. Unfortunately, I think we have to go... Actually, yeah, I think we have to banish our Illusionist, unfortunately. We're going to Tour Guide, normal summon. Obviously, our best normal summon. Then, we're going to... In this case... Sangan could search as Maxi, for example, because we have follow-up, and I will show you. You could obviously discard the Hydride, but I kept it in case for follow-up to go into your Crystal Hockey Fibrax with whatever you have left. We're gonna go into our Verte. Sangan is going to search us our... Now we have options. You have Maxi that you can pick. You can even pick just a Confit to have more extenders to your hand. But in this case, I will actually get the Relinquished because we have a Relinquished Fusion into our hand. We're not going to use Verde Anaconda's effect because what we're going to do first is going to special summon our Borea. And in this case, as you can see, because we have both Relinquished Fusion and Fusion Destiny into our hand, we do not need to use Verde Anaconda. I'm gonna go into our Crystron, Hacky Fibrax, because Crusader Arborea is a tuner. Crystron Hacky Fibrax effect will activate. He will special summon the Knight and Sorcerer. We're gonna go into our Relinquished Fusion now. You could obviously use it a bit earlier to avoid Nibiru, but just for the sake of this video, we're gonna banish Relinquished, and then we're gonna banish Virgin Anaconda, I guess, for this. Get the Millennium-Eyes Restrict into the field, and then we can go into our Selene, and because we have 3 spells, as you will see, we'll have 3 spell counters. We're gonna use her effect to remove the counters, to special summon the Knights and Sorcerers back into the field. If our opponent had cards in the graveyard, Knights and Sorcerer effect would activate to banish 2 cards to the graveyard. Then we're gonna go into our Access Code Talker, get him into the field, and then finish on Fusion Destiny. Again, it doesn't matter too much with what you end, as long as there's no interruption. Obviously, as you can see, with our best normal summon, which is Tour Guide, if we get interrupted and you have no follow-up, you don't have anything else into your hand, you most likely will end your turn. But with cards like, obviously, Fusion Destiny, Super Poly, your Relinquished Fusion, Preparation of Rites, you can make plays and you can always end on decent boards, or on a board which is like either a DPE with your Millennium-Eyes Restrict, and then the link that you would have here would be, if we're going second, obviously you would enter your Access Code Talker, or unfortunately, because we do not play other link 2s into our deck, it's only Virgin Anaconda, and in this case, as you saw, because we drew our Relinquished Fusion and our Fusion Destiny, we did not need to use that effect. But again, that was basically the combos that I wanted to show you guys that this deck is capable of. Hopefully this pleases you. I wanted to make this as soon as I could, because I honestly delayed it way too much, and I apologize for that. I knew that a lot of people needed help to basically show you guys some combos so you can see how things are getting done, in case the replays that I showed in the deck profile were not enough. But again, thank you guys very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you enjoy content like this, combo tutorials, deck profiles, and discussion videos for MasterDuel specifically, hopefully I have earned your subscription. If you liked the video, that would be extremely appreciated for me. And again, I will see you guys in the next one.